What's up, blockchain? This is Nick from Truth Blitz. Hope you guys are having a good day so far. Let's take a quick look at the market cap. Right now, 573 billion overall. Bitcoin dominance 44.2%. We're just over 15,000. Actually, we were just under a little while ago. So we have some of the alts are in the red, but some are still doing decent. At least when it comes to my portfolio. I know, as you guys know, I am big on Pillar, and last I looked, Pillar was okay, so it's dropped a little bit. It was up to about 35 cents. So I am still hodling my Pillar. Somebody asked me that. Yes, it hasn't had huge moves, but it is slowly rising. So I am holding that, and I don't plan on getting out of that anytime soon. I did just get into Cardano, a small position, and I might add to it because I got in at about 42 cents. So I might add a little bit more, just to have some. You guys know I'm big on EOS as well. And Cardano is a similar type smart contract platform that is supposed to be able to handle heavy traffic. So we need something of that nature. Like you guys know, and like I just said, I'm big on EOS. Dan Larimer has proved himself more than once. But there is nothing wrong with holding another one just in case. So another thing I wanted to talk about is somebody messaged me yesterday about Bitcoin Segwit2x, which is back on. Okay, so that is actually going down on the 28th. So if you guys are holding Bitcoin and you want your Segwit2x coin, you guys need to hold it in a wallet where you hold the private keys. There's not many exchanges listed that are going to support it. Okay, so these are some of them. HitBT, a lot of smaller exchanges. HitBTC. Now, if you guys are hoping to be able to dump your Segwit2x coin and put it into something else, I would not keep it on HitBTC. They're known for doing shady shit. I remember when Populous got released, okay, because HitBTC does futures. When Populous was released, I had some on EtherDelta. It was selling for a lot more on HitBTC, but for days, HitBTC did not allow deposits or withdrawals from of Populous from their exchange. So basically, the only way you could buy and sell it was on EtherDelta, even though it was selling for a higher price on HitBTC. Now they do that so they can screw around and make money before releasing deposits and withdrawals to the public. On an unrelated situation, I just tried to use HitBTC to buy some Populous the other day when EtherDelta was down, and their withdrawal fee on Populous was 2 frigging Populous tokens. Okay, that is insane. So back when it was cheap, when it was first released, that wouldn't have been so bad, but now that was like over 80 bucks. Okay, so that's insane. And it didn't matter how many. It didn't matter if you bought 5 of them or bought 500 of them. It was still 2 Populous tokens to do a withdrawal. Anyway, back to the subject at hand here. This is going through. It's going through on the 28th. I know it has the block number that they are forking in here. Block number 501451. Okay, so that is where we will be forking. So if you want to have your Segwit2x Bitcoin, I suggest moving it if you don't already have it. moving it into a wallet where you hold the private keys. Now, if you want fast access to it, I would not keep it in a Trezor, because just as with Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Cash happened a little bit faster than Bitcoin Gold did, but they did not release instructions on how to claim your alternative Bitcoins if you held them on if you held your Bitcoin on a Trezor until a little while after. So if you wanted to be able to take your Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin Gold and dump it, you know, as soon as it was forked and on an exchange, you couldn't do that if you had it on Trezor. You had to wait. And I'm pretty sure the Bitcoin Gold took almost 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. So Trezor has to release instructions on how to access and claim your Bitcoin Segwit coin, Segwit2x coin. So just some food for thought. If you are holding your Bitcoin, you want to get your Segwit2x Bitcoin, you need to have it. Probably the best thing would be maybe a paper wallet, or just a wallet where you hold the private keys, so that way you can claim it if you want as fast as possible. Now, if you just plan to hodl it, then it doesn't really matter. Hold it in a Trezor, or, you know, a ledger. So just wanted to talk about that. I personally don't really care. I might move my Bitcoin off my Trezor, but I'm not sure. But another thing I wanted to talk about here is yesterday's interview with Greg Hunter and Clif. So I'm going to go over just a couple things, a couple points that Clif talked about. And, you know, nothing crazy. It's things he's talked about in the past, but nevertheless exciting to hear. So,
and as we get into, as I've maintained for all of last year, and is still showing in the data for this report, as we get into mid-February, those who have the ability to look forward will see just 15, 18 days from then, so early March, the beginning of of our next big up leg within the crypto space in general, as I say, the bottom up pressure builds with these new products coming on out. A lot of the products are going to be extremely wildly successful, and it's going to get us into another euphoric burst that will carry us through into May.
Oh, and you know, I got to tell you, I'm not saying you were wrong. I think you were totally right. I think you were early, and but blew past that. So you know, I think you said that at around 1,800. I don't know. You said that. What? Huh? 13. A lot of people said the same thing. But
yeah,
but you were right. I mean, it went way past that. Come on, that's a heck of a call.
But see, here's the thing, Guy. What I get is I get a juxtaposition of a date and a number. So I knew we would be over the 13,000 before February, because it always does the consolidation stuff. And in order to be done with 13,000, we had to be out at the end of that period of time. We actually had some early indications for passing the 13,000 in December, but I don't talk about those because I don't do trading. And so from my viewpoint, the significant thing is that this like bottom of the step is 13,800, and we step up off of that in February into March. And prior to that, it's just this up and down stuff.
Okay, so the part I liked is he talked about some of the products that are coming out that will be wildly successful. Now, I did a video yesterday talking about the SEC and their plans to crack down on a lot of the quote-unquote utility tokens and deem them securities. But I'm not too worried yet until we start to hear more. I'm not too worried about it yet, but this is when you want to make sure you are holding some of the ones that are actually putting out products that have a roadmap that they're already achieving. You know, they're already hitting their marks on it. Okay, you don't want to be holding coins or tokens from a company that has a roadmap that they were supposed to hit this back in September, and then this in November, and they haven't even hit their first mark of what they said they were going to do, you know, back in September. You want to hold crypto assets from companies that are doing what they said they're going to do and on schedule, okay? And not only that, you want to have them from companies that have innovative ideas, innovative products that are coming out, that are needed, that will make that will solve the problem that they're setting out to solve. So let's just talk about one other point real quick that Clif made to Greg.
Well, yes, and then there's this other aspect of it, okay, that really needs serious consideration. And so I'm going to state it a different way than I have in the past, but it has to do with the adoption cycle for technology. And we've got a situation where, if you want to look at it one way, there's, as I've described it, there's about 1.5 to 3% of the population that we can consider to be innovators. Now, the next tranche of the people that are coming into Bitcoin are not the innovators. They're the variously described as early adopters or visionaries. And in the past, I've described it as the process of these people coming on in, but let me just state it as the lump sum, so to speak. If we look at the total population of the planet and say that there's maybe 1.5% of the population of the planet that's involved in cryptocurrencies, well, this next tranche, this next cohort that's coming in is 13.5% of the population.
All right, that is huge. Okay, so, you know, and these are rough numbers that he's talking about, but 1% of the population right now, and he's talking about even after the huge rush of people into cryptos, we've seen a huge exodus into cryptos, and relatively speaking, it's nothing compared to what we're going to see. But just think about, you know, 2-3 months ago, nobody really knew what Bitcoin and cryptos were, for the most part, okay? Since around the Thanksgiving time area there, we have seen, and this is a lot, largely due to futures and the fact that Bitcoin and cryptos in general are getting a lot of airplay on channels like CNBC and mainstream news channels. So, so now everybody's hearing about how much money can be made and everybody wants in. So, like I said, I know that I was the guy in my family that, the only one who was into cryptos for a long time. I tried to get people in months and months and months ago, you know, a year ago, and, you know, it didn't work. But now, since Thanksgiving, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, my father's in, my brother's in, my cousins, 2 of my cousins are in. So, you know, just think about how many families something like this has happened to and how many people that is. So he's talking about 1% of the population roughly now. So it was a lot less than that 2-3 months ago. But now look at that 1% now and think about 13%. 13, that is a huge increase. So imagine what prices are going to be when we see that 13%. So let's see what you got to say.
Oh, you get big moves.
Exactly. And see, this is what's going to kill the idea of futures, because we're still going to form these crocodile teeth. And so each and every time that we do so, we're going to have a correction that will probably be, I mean, Bitcoin seems to like these corrections, these consolidations of around 30 to 40%.
Wow.
And that's when we establish our strong hands and wash out the weak players. And it's not like a minor correction of 3 or 4 or 5% that you might see in a controlled market like the stock market. And so people have a visceral feeling in their guts. We get these impressions coming into the data so that we know that when these things are coming. And the action is the 30% drops will be from higher levels to a higher low, as we're still on this building trend, but it's not going to be able to be maintained as exponential. These little exponential bursts, like from 10,000 to 17,000, that nearly straight line that you would see in the charts, those always precede the consolidation, and that forms the backside of the crocodile tooth. And we have a number of those lined out for this next year, and some really big numbers, because coincidentally, of course, when you get to, so one way to look at it is, well, within our data sets, as we get close to 64,000, we're going to get another one of these. Well, at 60,000,
64,000. I want to just $64,000 this year for Bitcoin.
Not 2017. No.
I mean, I'm sorry, 2018. 2018.
Yeah.
64,000 in 2018. You think Bitcoin will hit?
Oh, it'll go higher than that.
In 2018.
Yeah.
I just want people to remember, for anybody who's sitting there going, say what? I mean, the last time you said this,
but hey,
it was $1,000, and you were saying it was going to go to 13.8.
Right, and I was saying 13.8 when it was under 1,000.
That's right. And I'm like, what? And I had people write me going, how can that be? That's a Ponzi scheme. Well, evidently it wasn't.
All right, so Clif High is saying it is going to go $64,000 in 2018. Okay, now he has made these predictions before. The webbot has given this data before on price points on Bitcoin, and I don't recall a time that it has ever not hit the price point. So I'm pretty confident that that's going to happen in 2018 until he starts to be wrong about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, because so far Clif High and the webbot have a really good track record. Okay, so when it comes to cryptocurrencies, now silver is another story, but that is because of the heavy price manipulation and paper trades on the gold and silver market. So that is exciting news right there. I think it's very, very possible, and I'm pretty confident that will happen because of the number of people that have already started getting into cryptos. Okay, I've actually got to go see my father today before he goes back to Florida, and help him acquire some more. I actually got to go teach my brother and my father both how to use an exchange later. So, but very exciting stuff. So, good interview. I will link this interview in the description so you can watch the whole thing if you want, if you haven't seen it already. Came out yesterday. Very good interview. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. Like I said, Crypto Blood and I are going to be starting a podcast. I don't know if we're going to start a new channel for it or not, but I will keep you guys updated with details on that. Follow me on Twitter at TruthBlitzMedia. Pretty soon I'll be hitting the mark in subscriber count, where I'm going to be giving away some coins, so stay tuned for that as well. So one of my subs will be getting some free coins. I'm probably going to do a question. Whoever's the first one of my subscribers to answer that question is going to, get a prize of some coins. So I did that at different marks in subscriber count. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys watching. I will see you in the next video. Have a good day.